Hola a todos, espero que ustedes se encuentren bien. Hoy vamos a hablar de los verbos que requieren la preposición a en español. So today we are going to continue our series on prepositional verbs, but in this video we are going to focus on the preposition a. So what does the preposition a do? Well, it is used to indicate direction. Por ejemplo, gira a la derecha. Destination. Vamos a la playa. A specific point in time. La fiesta será a las 11. So these are the general uses of the preposition a, right? So let's see some verbs that require that preposition a. And remember, with these verbs, they may not always indicate these general uses, right? So, el primer verbo, acercarse a, to approach. Me acerqué a la mujer. I approached the woman. Yeah. No te acerques a desconocidos. Do not approach strangers. So, you would have realized that in these two examples, I utilized persons as the object. But I do not necessarily only have to use persons. I could use things as well. I could say, no se acerque al edificio. Do not approach the building. Okay? So, the object can be a person or a thing. Just remember that. But the a is essential. So don't confuse the personal a with this. This requires the a regardless of the object. Yeah? Dos, acostumbrarse a, to become or get used to. So, los alumnos se acostumbraron a sacar malas notas. The students got used to getting bad grades. Qué lástima. And let's look over here to see what we have. Nunca te acostumbras a la muerte. You never become used to death. And that is true. Es verdad. Because it is an unknown. All right? So it's always going to be something very scary. All right? Tres. Asistir a. Now, if we use a person as the object, then that means to help. So it would be a synonym of ayudar. All right? But if we use an event afterwards, then it means to attend. So, ¿vas a asistir a la fiesta? Are you going to attend the party? And asistimos al concierto. We attended the concert. So the a is very important when we're talking about attending an event. But like I said, if it were a person, the meaning would be to help. Por ejemplo, asistí a mi papá. I helped my father, or I assisted my father. That's the same thing as saying ayudé a mi padre. Muy bien. Cuatro, dedicarse a, to dedicate oneself to. It is worth noting that we can use this in two senses, right? In the first sense, we can use it to talk about someone's job, someone's occupation. And then on the other hand, we can use it to talk about what someone devotes themselves to. Like that would be a more literal meaning, right? So, ¿a qué se dedica tu papá? What does your father do for a living? That's the same thing as saying or asking, ¿qué hace tu papá? Or ¿cuál es el trabajo de tu papá? Yeah. So, dedicarse a algo means to what does that person do for a living. That's one way to look at it. Okay? Now, on the other hand, this is the more literal meaning. Like if I say I devoted myself to something, it just means that I was, as we would say nowadays, I locked in. I was very focused on whatever task I am talking about, right? So, me dediqué a estudiar español por 15 años. I dedicated myself to studying Spanish for 15 years. Es verdad porque llevo 15 años estudiando español. Yeah, so this is true. I have been studying Spanish for 15 years. So this is more to do with a person's job or occupation. And then the second example is a more literal meaning, right? Sigamos. 5. Ayudar a hacer algo. To help to do something or to assist with something. Now this is important. We know that if we have a person as the direct object, then the personal I is required. But if we're talking about the assistance that we lend to someone, we have to use a as well, right? So, ayúdame a encontrar mi reloj. Help me find my watch. A lot of students forget to include the a here. So they would say, ayúdame a encontrar mi reloj. But no, the a is important. The a has to be placed before the specific help, right? Not just before the object if it's a person, right? But it has to be placed before the specific help, right? So let me contextualize all of this. Mi profesora La profesora nos ayudó a mejorar nuestras notas. The teacher helped us to... No, that's not a good example because I want to show you the uses of the two as. So, scrap that. La profesora ayudó a los estudiantes a mejorar sus notas. Perfect example. You see both as. La profesora ayudó a los alumnos a mejorar sus notas. The teacher helped the students to improve their grades. Or the teacher helped the students improve their grades. Now you see the a appears before the object because that's the personal a, before los alumnos, and then the a also appears before the specific help. A mejorar sus notas. So that's very important when it comes to ayudar. When you're talking about the assistance, you have to put the a, right? And this is just another example. Pedro nos ayudará a ganar el partido. Pedro will help us win the game. Yeah? Muy bien. These are 5 verbs that require a, and we continue. So we continue. All right. Número 6. Aprender a hacer algo, to learn to do something. So again, a lot of students forget the a in this context. So when we're talking about learning something, if we're learning to do something, we need the a. All right? So, mi familia aprendió a nadar. My family learned to swim. Yeah? Quiero aprender a bailar. I want to learn to dance. Or I want to learn how to dance. The a is crucial. All right? If you want to say that, if you want to talk about learning to do something, remember, the a must be used before the infinitive, which would be the activity, of course, right? Similarly, 7. Enseñar a hacer algo. To teach how to do something. Now, this reminds me of ayudar, because many students will know that if I'm talking about teaching someone, of course, we have to use the personal a, right? But they often forget that the a has to be used to talk about the what exactly is being taught. But this is if it's a verb, of course, because hacer algo. This is if it's a verb, right? So, and same thing over here. So, mi papá me enseñó a manejar. My father taught me how to drive. Yeah? Enséñame a pescar. Teach me to fish. Right? So we use the a to talk about the specific activity. Right? Now let me use an example with the personal a and the a to mention the activity. Okay? María María enseña a sus hijos a cantar. María enseña a sus hijos a cantar. María, I don't translate names. María teaches her children how to sing, or teaches her children to sing. So you see, similar to ayudar, we use the a before the object, before the object, because that is a person, so that's a personal a, but we also need the a to talk about the activity, in this case, which is cantar. Yeah? So, María enseña a sus hijos a cantar. 8. Comenzar a hacer algo. To start doing something. So we already know that comenzar a means to start at like a specific time. We already know that. But comenzar a followed by an infinitive means to start doing something. Right? So a lot of times students forget this too. Mariana comenzó a llorar. Mariana started to cry. Many students would omit the a. They would say Mariana comenzó a llorar. No. Comenzó a llorar. So you have to put the a before the infinitive, okay? Empezó a llover. It began to rain. Now, I use empezar here because empezar and comenzar are synonyms. They both mean to start. All right? So I could say comenzó a llover. And that means the same thing. So empezar and comenzar are synonyms. They're conjugated the same way. They are synonyms. All right? So this is why I have empezar here instead of comenzar. Right? Because they function alike. 9. Atreverse a. To dare to do something. So, atreverse a hacer algo, followed by a verb, of course. El hombre se atrevió a subir al árbol. The man dared to climb the tree. Yep. No te atrevas a mentir. Don't you dare lie. That's something you would hear from maybe your teacher or your parent, right? No te atrevas a mentir. Don't you dare lie. So, atreverse a followed by the infinitive. 10. Comprometerse a, to commit, promise, or pledge to. And of course, the infinitive follows. Ustedes se comprometieron a estudiar. You promised to study. Yeah? Espero que ustedes me hayan dicho la verdad. Ok. Me comprometí a ayudar a mis abuelos. I pledged or I promised to help my grandparents. Yeah? So these are 5 more verbs, and we're going to look at another set of verbs, and that will be the last set. So let's get to them. Okay, so we move on to the final segment, the final list of verbs. Of course, this is not an exhaustive list, but for this video, this will be the last set. Okay, so número 11, parecerse a, to look like or to resemble. Obviously, in this context, what would follow would be a noun. Right, a noun would follow. So, Julia se parece mucho a su papá. Julia looks a lot like her father. So, in this context, we could say the a could translate as like, right? Me dicen que me parezco a Childish Gambino. They tell me that I look like Childish Gambino. If you don't know who that is, he is a rapper, an American rapper, I think. Yeah, right. 12, limitarse a. This should be followed by a verb or a noun. In the first example, we have a verb. Las chicas, that means to confine or restrict oneself to. Las chicas se limitan a salir una vez a la semana. The girls restrict themselves to going out once a week. And over here, mi tía se limitó a 3 cervezas al mes. My aunt restricted herself to 3 beers per month. Yeah? Yep. So, limitarse a can be followed by a verb or a noun. Right? 13, arriesgarse a. And that will be followed by a verb, of course. Well, yes, a verb. So, me arriesgaré a perder mi trabajo. I will run the risk of losing my job. Or I will risk losing my job. Yeah? No se arriesgue a llegar tarde. Do not risk arriving late, or do not risk being late. Alright? 14. Negarse a hacer algo, to refuse to do something. Los obreros se niegan a entrar a la fábrica. The workers refuse to enter the factory. See? And over here, José se negó a hacer la tarea. José refused to do the homework. Wow. Un chico muy perezoso. José refused to do the homework. So, negarse a hacer algo means to refuse to do something. Alright? Y por fin, número 15, jugar a. To play, and this is to play a sport. When we are talking about playing a sport, we use a. Right? A sport or a game. So, yo juego al fútbol por las mañanas. I play football on mornings. Or, los chicos jugaban al tenis. The boys used to play tennis. All right? Let's use an example of a game. A mis alumnos les gusta jugar al ajedrez. ¿Ok? A mis alumnos les gusta jugar al ajedrez. My students like to play chess. ¿Ok? Eso es todo por hoy. Espero que ustedes hayan disfrutado de este video. Muchas gracias por ver y hasta pronto.